Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Gwilda Wiyaka's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the Science of Magic or endorsed in any manner by Gwilda Wiyaka, Relmar McConnell Media Company, its affiliated networks, stations, or employees. Welcome to the Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, a program dedicated to uncovering the unified nature of reality and humanity's ever-evolving place as truly galactic beings. For more information on the Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit us online at www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Welcome to the Science of Magic, a place where science and magic come together to transform fact into evolving truth. We're proudly coming to you through the ever-expanding X-Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net, and can also be found on our website, thescienceofmagic.net. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. This hour we'll be exploring the Great Lie. We're all living under the premise of a great lie, that there's only one reality and we're subject to it. As long as we believe in this en masse, it shall be so, as we create what we believe and believe what we create. Our capacity to create is jealously guarded secret. As long as this skill is unknown to us, we can be manipulated to create for the current systems. Ironically, we're under the delusion that the very systems manipulating this hidden talent are the providers rather than the exploiters. Over recent years, a many-headed beast has formed out of these systems. This beast literally feeds off of us. It has checks and balances in place to compromise our frequency and program our beliefs in order to keep us subject to and in cooperation with the lie. It's not a mysterious they of which I speak, nor is it an alien invasion. We're actually enslaved by a many-headed beast of our own making. The heads have names: insurance companies, big pharma, government, consumerism, FDA, the diet industry, gas, oil, the list goes on. Just follow the money. Money makes the laws, not the people. Lobbyists buy the politicians, and mainstream media is paid to propagate the lie by programming the masses. Contrary to popular belief, there is no villain. There's only you and I and our belief in the great lie. In a society that worships only the latest, greatest, We've been led to believe that the older we are, the less worth, that aging, illness, and death are all we have to look forward to. Well, baby boomers, unite, for we're the ones with the necessary substance, numbers, and wisdom to reveal the lie and reclaim our rightful place as conscious creators of our reality. We're not limited and subject to one reality. Reality is subject to us. Not only are we in a position to redefine aging, we're the ones to embrace manifestation and remake the world. Or we can dutifully get our flu shots, collect our Social Security for as long as it lasts, believe what the mainstream media propagates, and slowly fade into senility. In the last 200 years, we've evolved technologically at an astounding rate. Things we took for granted as everyday run-of-the-mill occurrences have been considered impossible or the work of the devil a century ago. This speaks to our amazing power as creators. Yet, we're about to become entrapped by our own creation. The more technologically advanced we've become, the more we've separated ourselves from nature and natural law. Ironically, it's through our connection to nature that we access the power to manifest. It's paramount that we regain our equilibrium and balance our lives. It's time to rediscover our magic, lest the many-headed beast devour us. Those who've been around through some of the changes and have witnessed the effects of our complacency are the ones with the perspective to lead us back to our birthright. Instead, there's a nursing home bed with our name on it? Not for this old gal. I'm just beginning. Our guest this hour is one gentleman of substance who's taken retirement by storm. R SUMPTER is the author of We Are the Creators. When Lee was a sophomore in high school, he first read Donnelly's book on Atlantis, thus the beginning of a lifelong interest in maverick history and science. This interest continued over the years of formal study of undergraduate and graduate degrees. These studies reached the doctoral level and have been done in 8 universities in 2 continents and 4 Western languages. This interest persisted through 35 years of teaching in elementary school and higher education. After this commercial break, I'll introduce Lee, and together we're going to explore hidden spiritual powers, maverick history, manifestation, and the nature of the soul. Could prove a bit unorthodox, so don't go away. You're listening to The Science of Magic. Prior innovative episodes can always be found on our website, thescienceofmagic.net.
This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at www.drgibbswilliams.com.
This is Johanna Carroll, host of Dialogue with Divinity on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. While walking along Kaanapali Beach in Maui this past year, I kept discovering all these shells and coral in the shape of hearts. My dialogue with Divinity was very simple. Do you want me to do a retreat to heal people's hearts in Maui next year? And of course, the answer was yes. As a master spiritual teacher, I am offering you a neat retreat called Rise, May 8th through the 12th, 2017, and the chance of a lifetime to rest at a 5-star resort for 5 days and experience a spiritual renewal of your heart and soul. Kaanapali is one of the top 5 beaches in the world. This stunning resort has undergone a $40 million renovation. I walked the entire property, checked out the room choices on your behalf, and I must say it is stunning. Our conference room faces the ocean with sliding glass doors. Maui is known as Mother Maui because it is a soft, gentle, healing energy. In the embrace of Mother Maui, you will feel yourself rising from the limitations of an ordinary life to an extraordinary journey of peace, bliss, and harmony. A greater sense of clarity. Our Rise retreat ignites renewal in the sacred elements of air, water, earth, fire, and wind. There's plenty of free time to enjoy all that Maui has to offer. A small deposit is required now to reserve your space, as this retreat, it will sell out. For more details, please go to johannacarroll.com and register today. Aloha, and I'll see you in mystical Maui.
Welcome back. This is the Science of Magic, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our guest this hour is Lee Sumpter, author of We Are the Creators. Lee, thank you for joining us on the Science of Magic.
My pleasure, Gwilda.
I couldn't help but notice that you've gotten around a lot. You've lived and traveled in 48 of the 50 United States and 10 foreign countries. Do you think the diversity of your experiences contributed to your outlook on life, and if so, how?
Oh, yes. I pondered that considerably, and I thought that if I had grown up and lived in one town, raised a family, stayed in one job, probably that I simply wouldn't have asked the questions that I had to ask to get the answers that brought me to know what I know.
And it kind of helps with realities, too, doesn't it, when you've had so much diversity in the societies you've been in?
Well, I have known people in different cultures. I was a child. When I was a child, I lived in Japan. I've known people in other cultures who don't come from the Judeo-Christian religion. I have been in Buddhist temples and felt the sacredness and the peace there. So I've learned to respect everybody's beliefs and to study, see what I could find out.
We Are the Creators. That's an intriguing title. Why'd you choose it, and what does it mean?
Oh, my publisher chose that, but that's okay. That's fine, because it was a little bit more in line with the message. Because one of the chapters in the book, and this was the chapter that was completely channeled, deals with exactly how it is that we create the matter of our life. It's pretty much pure well, it's not old-fashioned, but it's pure phenomenology, and that we actually use the energy that's in the Earth sphere, the Earth experience, and turn it into what our senses perceive as matter, and then so we surround ourselves with our environment, the environment which I call the environment provides us with our moral moment, because the real difficulty is making moral choices. I've been told by sources from the other side, beyond the veil, that the making of the matter is relatively easy. Of course, you get those kinds of statements when you start.
Easy for them to say, right?
Well, there's a different reality, you know, and that's you alluded to that in your introduction quite a bit. Now, I have my list of questions. Could I go on and add to what you said? I reinforce it.
Well, we can just putz along, and I want to ask you a little bit more about the channeling piece. How did you channel? What do you think you're channeling? How much did the channeling play? What part of it did it play in the writing of the book?
Well, now there's the then and there's the now. I've been thinking about this the last couple of days. I've learned so much. This book was ultimately published in 2012. So I worked on it from 2009 to 2000. Actually, it was finished. I was presenting it to a publisher in 2011. So it was really a couple of years. And at that time, I had a number of sources. People ask me, well, who do you channel? Well, and then sometimes when people do readings for me, they will say, well, you have a committee. So I really had a committee. However, I still do. The source of that particular chapter of the book that deals with how we create the matter, our life, our environment, was actually the lady that I describe in the introduction, who came to me from, it turned out, figured out a year and a half to 2 years later, she was from Lemuria. And the whole point of all my books, I'm getting my second book ready for the publisher right now, is that the wisdom and the spirituality of Lemuria, of the original times, is coming back to us. We are rapidly moving in that direction. We are being taught. We are given experiences. We are being guided towards that. And this program right here that you have produced is part of that. It's part of that guidance. And of course, because of the receptivity to this program, it's evident that we are new. We are new kinds of human beings.
Yes, it's a good thing at this point, isn't it?
Well, yes.
Yeah. So what role does our beliefs play in manifestation of our reality?
Well, we create what we believe. You have to be careful about it. You have to examine your beliefs. It's difficult. I mean, your very beliefs get involved in it. And not only that, but when we pass on from this life, the beliefs go with us, and they will influence what we do in heaven. They will influence how we organize and set up our next life and how that goes. So it's all about beliefs.
So if we want our lives to evolve, we have to evolve our belief systems?
Absolutely, absolutely, which we can do. I just was writing about that today. If we will start to show gratitude for the divine help that we get on a daily basis, then blessings come to us. And the more we show gratitude, the more that we have blessings, the more we are in touch with the other side. It's like a transaction. When you show gratitude, you recognize the help that you get from all kinds of entities, spirits on the other side, as well as in this life. And so you recognize that there's something else there besides the material world in which you live. And you recognize that you're not alone and that you have assistance. And they want to reward you for that awareness. And so they will bring blessings into your life. And the more you recognize of these blessings, the more blessings there will be. And all of this is to help you understand more what you are what you are creating. I give an example in the book about one day I was in a very difficult marriage, and I had been going to Al-Anon meetings, and I was on my way to one desperately in need of counseling. And one of the counsels from Al-Anon is to count your blessings. That's the way out of a lot of problems. So I thought, well, okay, then I'll try it. And so I just started trying to find things. Well, I found some things to count my blessings. Well, the world on the other side of the windshield of my car changed before my very eyes. And my whole life, everything that I was experiencing that was so difficult changed. And it's never changed back. I've never gone back to that. Very negative, low expectations, victim attitude. I've never gone back to that.
So what you're saying is that gratitude is a great transmuter, and if you can apply gratitude, it can change your outlook, your reality, and your belief systems?
And it will give you greater access to all of those that want to help you with your life. They don't expect you to come over here and slug it out all by yourself. They helped you create the life, and they will help you find your way through it and make the most of it.
What about intentionally? How important is clear intention in manifestation?
Well, intention is obviously, how could I say, the motivator. It's the prompt. It starts the process going. And of course, it's like beliefs. You've got to be careful, because sometimes you may think you wish well, but your intentions are not well-wishing. You have to examine these things. That's why I discussed that the purpose of creating our life is so that we will have what I call the moral moment. We create our environment, and then we make decisions with our mind. The mind, that turns out, because of NDE experience, research, is in the soul. The mind is in the soul. The memory is in the soul. And we evaluate where we are and those around us and what we want to do. And then in that instant, that attitude, those beliefs, they create the next environment. And then on it goes. It just keeps rolling along. So the intention is what will bring about your new environment according to your beliefs.
Speaking of beliefs, do you believe that our ability to create is currently being exploited? And if so, how and by whom?
I think that most people have not fully grasped their ability to create. I think that they're deceived, I think that's what it is. I think lots of organizations over the millennia really have tried to convince us that we're relatively powerless and that we're all alone, and that we are just here, and some other mechanism creates it for us.
Can you speak to mainstream media and its influence on how we create, what we believe, and how we create?
Well, mainstream media is all about material things, of course. They want to sell things. It's the money thing. And so this is the main thing. And, of course, it's disruptive because, they sell things by means of strong emotions, violence, fear, especially fear. It's all fear-mongering. And, it's our life and what we create. Everything we do here is all about energy. It's not, matter is made up of energy. It always goes back to energy. So it's all illusion, So the more things that we have, more material, more we're involved in material world, we're just involved with energy. And it's a matter of whether we intend to influence energy or whether we want energy to influence us. Active versus passive.
And it seems like by the time it's become manifest in physicality, it's pretty low frequency. And so we're subjecting ourselves to our things, therefore we're subjecting ourselves to a lower frequency or energy?
Well, yes, indeed, of course. And that's where, again, this gratitude mechanism comes in. You will become much more of a spiritual being. You'll become much more aware of your spiritual powers. And after all, now, see, one of the things I try to bring out everywhere I talk is your body is creating matter. You started out as one cell and then two cells, and on it went from there, just cells. You started out as a wiggly infant. And look at you now. How did you get there? Well, you changed energy into your body. And you're still doing that. All of the cells of the body get replaced every 7 years. The cells in your eyes are replaced every 24 hours in the lens. So your body is actually an atomic power plant. And we just ignore that. We're not aware of it. But it's going on. Your body is splitting atoms.
We're going to have to talk about splitting atoms on the other side of this commercial break. Lee and I will return to our discussion, which is getting pretty exciting, splitting atoms and all.
Good.
We're coming to you through the land of leading-edge paranormal broadcasting, the X Zone Broadcast Network. Don't miss the other fine shows and hosts on xzbn.net. You're listening to The Science of Magic, thescienceofmagic.net. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. We will be back, so don't go away.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Welcome back. This is the Science of Magic, a place where magic and science come together to promote enlightenment. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our guest this hour is R SUMPTER, author of We Are the Creators. Lee, we were talking about our amazing ability to create our own bodies. And, you know, as we were going through the break, it really occurs to me that if we can create one body, we can probably create another body. I mean, as a mother, I know you can do that. But, I mean, are we restricted to these physical bodies simply because we believe we only get one? Could we bilocate if we had the belief system and such?
Well, actually, we can. We can indeed. We don't need the body. We are really not. We are only restricted to living in our immediate environment by our imaginations. If a person really intends, as a matter of fact, and sets out to do it, they can go anywhere. They can go anywhere in the world. They can go, as you all were talking about, to India. You can go someplace and actually read the street signs. Someone may jump up and say, oh, no, it just takes certain people with certain kinds of psychic skills that can do that. Well, yes, but those psychic skills are potentially in all of us. And if we desire to do that, if we have that intention, we can be taught to do it. We can learn to do it. So we can indeed be in different places at different times. We can see people that are important to us where they are in different places. We're not limited to our immediate space.
You're just paying attention to the information you're already getting, right?
Well, yes. That's it. But part of exploiting your spiritual abilities is to get more information. And again, this will change your orientation. You won't feel so limited by what your physical senses present to you as reality.
Got it. So do you think our ability to create is evolving?
Well, indeed, because what I was going to start out with is in the book, I arbitrarily picked the last 250 years. And let's face it now, for the last 4 or 5, 6, a dozen millennia, as far as we know, we've gotten about by muscle power, either human muscles or animal muscles. That's how we got around. But in the last couple hundred years, we've gone from getting about with muscle power to sending rocket ships to the moon, manned spacecraft to the moon. And that's happened in less than 200 years. In less than 200 years. We can now communicate all the way around the world, sort of like what we're doing right now. We can transmit information all around the world. We can transmit objects all around the world. Now, this is happening at a tremendous rate. So the new person, the new human who listens to radio programs like this and reads books like mine, this is, I want to say, it's foisted upon us, whether we like it or not. We're born in this time. These things are going on. When you talk about intention, we have the expectation that something new is going to be found tomorrow. You know, we don't even expect our electronic marvels to last more than a few weeks before there's something else that some new gadget. Of course, you can get wrapped up in it. But still, the capabilities keep expanding. Now, when I retired, I told my students that actually, because they were so focused with each other with their SMS devices, whatever they use. They were constantly texting each other, even when we didn't want them to. And I said, since you're so focused on each other like this, why don't you just use your phones to confirm the messages you're sending to each other mentally? I actually said this in American high school. Well, I was about to retire, Well, it was. So anyway, this is the next thing. There are people who are practicing this, the telepathic communication, and actually we all communicate all of the time telepathically behind the scenes. We're in constant communication. We're constantly aware of the thought that's going on, and that's why, again, you have to be careful with your beliefs, because they'll not only hold you back, but they'll hold back everybody else too.
So you're saying that the common denominator belief system is larger than the individual?
Absolutely. Of course. We're in cultures. Cultures have belief systems. And we can grow up as children in a culture. Of course, there's family. This is anthropology. You've got your family culture, your neighborhood culture, your village, town culture, state culture, et cetera, religious culture. And, we get all kinds of subliminal and unvocalized messages from our parents, from our neighbors, about what's the right way to think and the right way to be. Parents start, you have to think about this. Now, if you're going to come into this life as a new being, you don't know anything about the culture you're coming into. You may remember things about the culture you were in the last time you had a life, but you're not going to know anything about this culture. Your parents begin telepathically to orient you right from conception, while you're in the womb, and while you're a baby that cannot communicate. There's all kinds of telepathic preparation for getting along. If you think about how fast, now I speak several languages, but babies learn a language very fast, and nowadays they seem to learn them faster, and they can learn several languages at one time. So obviously they're getting a lot of information from somewhere other than what the senses are providing.
Exactly. So if we're subject to the common denominator belief system and yet we're wanting to evolve as spiritual beings, how can we reduce our susceptibility to the old structures and beliefs?
It's very simple. This is what I always told my students. Turn the stuff off. Turn it off and listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. I used to rail at them too. I said, y'all have no sky. You never see the sky. You don't know what a starry night sky looks like. You don't know what the constellations look like. Everything's illuminated, has to be illuminated. So we need to get in quiet places where we can listen to ourselves and listen to, I would say, the other side, the spirit world. We really do. It's very, very important. I would simply say, as far as the so-called media are concerned, it's important to be extremely selective, and it's important to make judgment calls. Is this negative? Is this demeaning? Does this have a negative message about some segment of the society, about me? I think we have to exercise that judgment all the time and try to preserve kind of an inner core calm.
How do you think the rapid change from the ancient to the modern that we've been going through here has affected us spiritually?
Well, obviously, we're probably, okay, if you said this in your introduction, if you're tuned into nature, people who are much more tuned into nature, and all we can do is talk about it, although there are millions of people around the world that do live this way. We are not those. As I said, we don't even have a sky in our life most of the time. But nature is articulate. This was a big thing about the Romantic writers in the 1800s. Nature talks to us. There's consciousness. Trees, plants, they're responsive. animals, etc. I had a cat that taught me to talk to animals. So anyway, that's how I learned. I mean, I confess it was the cat. But anyway, nature will speak to us and speaks to us in terms of rhythms. Of course, you've got your cycles, and this has a very eternal quality about it. And of course, you've got the heavens. When we've cut ourselves off from that, isolated ourselves from it, well, naturally, we don't get those messages. And so we need to seek that out. We need to find places where we can seek it out. There's your Japanese garden, see? There's your sacred spot, meditation place, location, special place. You have to find some place where you can get in touch with your soul, yourself, the people from the other side who want to talk to you. But now there's all kinds of books being written about this. There's TV shows where this goes on. It's all around us. It's in the world around us. All we have to do is decide to focus on that, focus on the spiritual connection. And I kind of would tend to say that if you don't go after the spirit world, it's going to come after you. And I'm not saying that it's Halloween around here, so, but I'm not saying that in a way that a person would necessarily take it. But in fact, things are changing about us. We are going to see geological changes, severe geological changes, to shake us up, literally, and change our focus.
The nature is always changing. But if we aren't paying attention to nature or attuning ourselves to nature, it's changing without us. And it looks like we might come out on the losing end of that little equation.
Well, yes, but, that would be something that would happen anyway. When you lose your spiritual core, your spiritual essence, then you wind up chasing bright lights and baubles, shiny objects. And you also chase the latest thing or what everybody else is chasing. And, that's where your energy goes, and you're just going to be spinning your wheels and going around in circles.
My grandmother had this wonderful saying when she got in her older years. She didn't want a bunch of material things. Don't want anything, don't need anything, don't have any place to put anything. And her other saying was, shrouds don't have pockets. If we could just keep that simple thing in mind, we really might change our focus on what's important.
Well, yes. Yeah, and we have to do that. We very much need to do that. And it's just all around us. As I say, once again, this radio program is evident, is proof that this is the way it's going. And I just find people will ask me, of course, what's your book about? And, I eventually have to say, well, it's about, the spirit world, our spiritual nature, our ability to create our world, and it's I say that it's psychic, if you want. I cannot come up with my normal adjective there, but I will eventually. Anyway, but I have found that I have yet to encounter a negative reception to these ideas.
Boy, is that a change. We're going to have to pick up on the other side of another commercial break. Lee and I will be back shortly. You're listening to The Science of Magic, thescienceofmagic.net, the place where altruistic professionals of science and the esoteric create common ground for the betterment of our world. We're brought to you by the leader in paranormal, spirituality, and alternative health programming, the X Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net. Don't you guys leave me now.
As host of Dialogue with Divinity, I am thrilled to join the X Zone Broadcast Network and their growing number of affiliates. My quest for a connection to the divine ignited my successful career path as an international spiritual counselor for over 40 years, an author of 4 books, and well-known metaphysical educator. My clients call me their spiritual mama. So my job is to offer you a radio show to help you grow spiritually with wisdom and get specific tools from guests who are experts in their field. Tune in to Dialogue with Divinity and be part of the conversation with Spirit. My goal, your happy soul. For more information, please visit my website at johannacarroll.com.
Coming soon to the X Zone Broadcast Network is A Different Perspective with me, Kevin Randall, as your host. We'll be taking a close look at what is happening in the world of UFOs today with side trips into the paranormal. Guests will range from those who are household names to those who have a different perspective on a variety of topics. No topic will be taboo, but there will be tough questions asked as we all search for the truth about UFOs, the paranormal, and those things that excite us. Sometimes we'll agree with a guest and sometimes we won't, but we'll try to keep the program topical. For those of you who like to read, be sure to visit www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com and remember to listen to the other fine programs on the X Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net. This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold.
Welcome back. This is the Science of Magic, bringing together gifted people of service to the world. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our guest this hour is R SUMPTER, author of We Are the Creators. And Lee, I understand you're in the process of getting another book out there too, yes?
Yes. The second book is much more focused on the way that the abilities that we had actually hundreds of thousands of years ago are coming back to us. Of course, the given dogma, the scientific dogma, is that we're all advanced apes. We're all just simian, but that's nonsense. Apes they don't plant seeds and expect them to grow. They can't smelt earth and get iron out of it, and they don't make electronics, So,
There's
and
a
they
lot to be
never
said
have,
for apes, right?
Yeah, well, they're okay as far as it goes, but but they just never have done this, and so this is nonsense. And in fact, there's quite a bit of evidence all around the earth that that there have been very, very advanced cultures in the past, and some of this evidence is psychic, and I am fortunate enough to have been part of that because my guide from Lemuria at one point took me on a tour of her part of Lemuria when she was on the shore. Most of the civilization of Lemuria was on the shore, just from the nature of the continent. It was out in the Pacific, and it disappeared. And this is just one of those things. Geology likes to talk about how that our continents move about horizontally. And we do have evidence of rocks, etc., that have gone from sea level or below sea level to 5,000 and 6,000 feet in the air, or more, several miles in the air. But oddly, they don't ever pay any attention to the possibility that what is on the surface might descend several thousand feet to the bottom of what would be the ocean. So it's quite, there's all these legends, of course, but there have been there have been continents where there are now oceans, and where there are now continents, such as the United States, for instance, North America, that was once a sea, an ocean, and they find whales and whale bones and, evidence of these things. Even I understand that even the Alps have seashells in the rock.
Exactly. Yeah, it's amazing. What was above is now below, kind of thing.
Right. So you cannot. The first chapter of my second book starts with the earth beneath our feet.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So I've had a lot of visions of what's going to happen. I've studied it quite a bit, and I had to go through a lot of fear, but I did. And I now understand things differently. And as a consequence of this pursuit, I've come to know things. I've been very lucky that way.
Well, speaking of which,
the more I understand.
Speaking of which, what is the new Earth? You speak of the new Earth. What is that?
Well, I'm afraid that's different things for different people. I'm interested in the new Earth in terms of the new human. And the new human will bring about the new Earth. One of the things that I say in the second book and in other talks that I give is that besides, and you asked about being in more than one place at a time, besides our life in the earth, where we live in what is the earth life for us, which is not the earth life of most of the population of the world, but it is for us. We have to keep that in mind. But while we are living this, we are also active in other spheres of the earth environment that we know nothing about. They're just, I call it the great ball of twine. It's just layers and layers of spiritual influence, things that control geology, that control solar system, things that control electromagnetic forces and other forces we don't even know about. They haven't even been discovered yet. And we serve on committees that vote on how all of this is to play out. And of course, time is, it's not the same. Let me put it that way. So we actually get a vote. Democracy is actually the way decisions are reached in the world of spirit, believe it or not. And we get a bit of a vote in how the new earth is slowly evolving.
So we're playing a part of that before we come in, while we're here, and after we leave?
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's no rest for the wicked, I take it, huh?
Well, no, there's not really any need, but you see, this is the thing, is that we are much more than we think we are. Much, much more. I talk about near-death experiences in this first book. We are the creators. And by studying near-death experiences, it's clear that the soul has eyes to see, ears to hear, because people talk about seeing things while they're out of their body. They talk about having conversations and actually being able to hear, say, the medical emergency people. They have memories. They have rational capacity. And I analyze all of this. I also analyze what happens when we have, like, hypnotic regression, where we can actually go and go to another culture, and we'll see things that we don't even understand, but we'll describe them. But we don't even know what it's past our ability to understand. And then we have the deja vu experience, which suddenly, runs you ahead. I mean, you're here, you are now, and suddenly it's bursting out in front of you, and you can even remember, oh, I saw this in a dream, or I saw this in a vision 10 years ago, or something like that. So it defies time. And so we have knowledge within us we would call spiritual, that, defies material reality. It defies the norms of material reality.
Well, there is a question: where do we end and everything else begins? So if we are indeed infinite beings that's connected to all that is, if we start listening, if we start refining ourselves, we have access to a heck of a lot more information than we've been led to.
Absolutely, yes, we do. It's always been there, but our beliefs are that we did not have access. Only the priest had access, certain initiates, people with certain titles and power and assumed power. They had access, but not us. But we do. That's going away.
Isn't that the way? Isn't that the way that they control the masses, is by controlling the belief systems, and therefore we're all subject to create what the systems want, rather than our actual ability to create the world anew?
Well, we can turn from that. We have a choice. It's all about choices. That's actually right there. Well, the psychic that I say is the one who predicted to me that my Akashic reader, Bonnie Oyen, she said the first book was about choices. Well, it took me 2 years to figure out what she was trying to tell me. And what I learned was, as people are becoming disaffected by all of the clutter and the clatter, they're looking for an alternative. They're looking for they want to make a choice. They want to choose the peace. They want to choose the higher knowledge. They want to choose access to spiritual powers. And so when people like me write the kind of books that I'm writing, that presents them with a choice. It took a long time to figure that out. I don't know why.
It is all about our day-to-day choices, isn't it? So
yes.
What do you think the most powerful thing we can do, the most personal empowering thing we can do as individuals is right now?
Well, to get quiet and listen to what you are hearing in your soul, in your heart. Listen to your heart and be grateful for everything around you. Count your blessings, literally. Add them up, total it up, and then look for more blessings. And little by little, you will be guided down the path to more knowledge and ultimately for you, more power.
So the gratitude path is the blessings path.
It is.
And
now, it's important. This should not be overlooked. It's very important to ask questions. Ask the universe questions with the expectation of having them answered. And the answers will come to us in all kinds of ways. Your children will come up and say things to you. Your neighbor, you'll hear it on the radio, or you'll hear voices if you want. Listen for these answers, and that's another transaction in a way. Oh, so you actually think there's somebody here to answer your questions. Well, here we go. So don't be afraid to ask questions and expect to have them answered. And there is nothing
Lee,
cannot do.
time flies, and we're out of it. Thank you so much for being a guest on the Science of Magic. Our guest this hour has been Lee Sumpter, author of We Are the Creators. This has been the Science of Magic. Remember, you can always listen to past thought-provoking episodes on our website, thescienceofmagic.net. Don't forget to join us on the next episode of The Science of Magic. Until next time, dear ones, may you be blessed with knowledge and comforted with love as you remake your world.